Texans are cold and in darkness, and the governor and other Republicans tried to blame the Green New Deal for the massive power outages. But the truth is that a privatized, deregulated energy system is at fault, and they knew they had problems to fix, and they've known this since 2011, but they didn't do it. Megan, what do you think of this crazy mess?
Oh, it's horrible. It looks
What do
like
you
the
make of
apocalypse. It's awful. I mean, I read something yesterday that was saying that hospitals are out of power, and the people in hospitals were trying to find generators to sit around with blankets. I mean, the last time I was in the hospital was obviously giving birth. I can't imagine if the power went out. There's a lot of heads to roll, a lot of people to blame. I know what's not helping right now is the fact that Senator Ted Cruz is seen on a flight with his family to Cancun right now. I was looking at Twitter in the commercial break. He's apparently on a flight back home to Texas right at this very moment. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of media waiting, asking questions, but to like literally flee your home state while people are freezing to death to go to Cancun is a very Marie Antoinette, one of the worst optics I could possibly come up with in an era where there's been a lot of bad political optics.
Yeah, and they're based, reports based on photos that haven't been verified. But there's all kinds of craziness going on. The Texas politicians and regulators were warned that they needed more winterizing, and they still haven't made the investments. Why aren't they mandatory? And Governor Abbott, he may not know, but 56% of Texas energy comes from natural gas, 19% from coal, 9% from nuclear energy, 20% from wind and renewables. How do you blame this on anybody but your inability to do your job? Joy, in your opinion, who's to blame here?
Well, for every Andrew Cuomo screw-up, there are about at least 4 screw-ups in the Republican Party. Shall I name a couple? You had the water crisis under Rick Snyder, Republican. You had the pandemic spiraling out of control in Florida, DeSantis, and now Greg Abbott. And you know, these climate change deniers are mostly in red states, and red states are the ones that are going to be impacted by climate change the most. So anybody out there who's watching this show should be very careful about voting Republicans into office, because they are not there to help you. They are there to line their pockets and to take care of their cronies. This is exactly what's going on. You don't believe in federal help? Then there's a disaster, and what are you going to do? You're out of luck. Sorry, this happened with every single time there's a disaster in this country. You want small government, and then big government has to come in and bail you out. So that's all I have to say about it.
All right, Sarah, what's your thoughts on this?
It's so alarming, the imagery of people burning their belongings to create fires, to have heat. I read an article today about the advice on how to melt snow because they don't have water. I mean, it's so disturbing to see this happen anywhere in the globe, but to know that's in the U.S. in 2021 and they were warned, and the problem was there was going to be money involved in winterizing all this energy, and they didn't do it. I think the most egregious part is the lack of leadership, though. When you go on air, the first thing you do, they are in the throes of this right now. It's still hitting them right now, and the governor gets on air and says, rather than taking any accountability of we knew this was coming, or let me talk to my people, he jumps on, yeah, this is the Green New Deal, which was false information in the first place, but there was just no accountability. You messed up, own it. I don't know why leaders these days can't just mess up. That's where we learn things in life, are actually mistakes. You don't avoid mistakes, we all have them, but friggin' own it. There are people dying right now that can't eat or drink. It's pathetic to me.
Yeah, Sonny, what's your thoughts?
You know, I've seen the suffering. I have friends and family that live in Texas, and it's just absolutely horrible. But you know, you do get what you vote for. You know, what people that you hold accountable, and that's why I think you've seen this huge movement in the Republican Party against cancel culture, because they don't want to be held accountable for things like this. That's why you see people like Governor Abbott spinning and lying and gaslighting his own, you know, constituents. That's why you have a mayor, former mayor now, because I believe he stepped down in Texas, saying, you know, this is about survival of the fittest. You're not going to get any handouts. That's why you see allegedly Senator Cruz, who wasn't held accountable on after January 6th for everything that he did to continue pushing the big lie, at a rally January 3rd talking about, we will not go quietly into the night. I mean, he was never held accountable for any of that, challenging the Electoral College again and again and again. That's why he went to Cancun with allegedly to escort his family, because no one is held accountable for any of this behavior. That is really, in my view, what the problem is. Rick Perry saying, we don't want any federal help. We'll continue to die from the cold. It's just so despicable, but it's right out of this Republican playbook. When will people wake up to this? I just don't get it. They're suffering so terribly, and Joe Biden, though, is still doing the right thing because he is sending in the federal help. He is doing the right thing.
Yeah. And there's another guy who's doing amazing stuff. His name is Jim Mattress McEval. He opened his huge Houston furniture store as a shelter yesterday. And Tuesday, for those left without power and heat, 1,000 people came each day. This man says there are a lot of people with a lot of needs, and we're more than happy to open this furniture store to serve the community because that's why we exist. He also opened the store, Gallery Furniture, as a shelter after the flooding from Hurricane Harvey in 2017. He provides meals for people during the corona pandemic. This is a man I hope gets the Medal of Freedom, okay? Because this is a man who is, I don't know what his beliefs are, I don't care, but he knows that he's there because of the people who come to his store. I gotta tip my dread to him. I'm tipping all my dreads to him because this is a stand-up guy. We will be right back.